I'm Sarah Haverstick, Senior Manager of Safety Advocacy and Consumer Care for Evenflo. Very excited that you're here with us today to talk about one of our great new car seats. I also have a new team member on the line too, so you get to meet all kinds of Team Evenflo people this week. But I'm going to have Andrea introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Frazier, and I'm one of the product managers at Evenflo. I'm very excited to be on the call and to see everybody, and so excited that Sarah's introducing All4Stages Slim. So I hope you all enjoy it.
This is Andrea's product. This is her first project with us, like start to finish kind of project. So it's really exciting. I'm excited for her to get to interact with you guys. I talk a lot about our technician and advocacy community. So I'm glad that she gets to jump in and help answer the questions and hear what you guys have to say about this product. So it's going to be really great. So much like yesterday with our infant car seat webinar, today we're going to talk through product details. So I have a number of slides. We're going to go through in detail some tips and tricks and just general information that I want you to know about this product. I will also then do an installation demonstration. So that's that other screen. I'll make that the primary video feed that you're seeing, and I'll go back there to my demo buck and we'll do some install together. And then we will do the live Q&A as well. So as a reminder, I would love for you to use the chat. Tell us where you're joining us from, you know, whatever other kind of chatty kind of things you want to put in there. Feel free to use that chat and share information with us. But if you have a question, I would like you to right now find the Q&A button. It'll be a lot easier for me at the end of this to go through the Q&A to find the questions that we want to make sure we address, because we really want to address your questions. And as I said previously, you know, I'm trying to host these webinars as like a deeper dive into each of these individual products, because we have a lot going on right now with Evenflo, and I want you to get this information in a timely manner around the time that we are launching these products. So All4Stages is right now live. I think it might still be showing out of stock on our website, but you're going to start to see it more. It has a few different retail placements. We'll talk about that at the end of this. But I want you to get this information as soon as it is available. So that's where we've been trying to do these presentations right now. I do have a March webinar with Safe Kids that will go kind of in more detail across all of these products and share just generally some more information about them. But I don't have as much time, and you know, so that'll be your holistic look at what's going on with Evenflo, but just shorter highlights of each product, where today we get to really dive in and talk a lot about the product. As a reminder, you will get an email tomorrow from Zoom. It will have a certificate link. It will also have a link to a PDF of these slides. So both of those will be there. The links will go to a WeTransfer website. I'll talk about that more at the end of this broadcast. And then if you are sitting at a table and you've got another couple of CPSTs next to you, only the person logged in is going to get the email from Zoom. So if there is more than one person watching this broadcast with you right now, just take out a piece of paper and make yourself a sign-in sheet. That way, whoever is logged in, when they get the email from Zoom, they can send you that certificate or they can print it, but then also keep it along with the sign-in sheet. Because if you call me 2 years from now and say, hey, Sarah, but I joined that webinar, I don't know that you joined if you aren't actually logged into the webinar, but you can still get credit. You just need to create yourself that sign-in sheet. So we'll talk about that more at the end if anybody has any questions there too. So let's get started. This is All4Stages Slim. As you can imagine, Slim is in the name. So I wanted to start with this little 3 across picture. It's a lot of what we're hearing from consumers when we do our research with consumers up front during product development. People need space in their vehicle, and whether it's because they're trying to fit 3 car seats across the vehicle, or maybe they just have a smaller back seat and they're trying to fit 2 car seats and maybe an additional adult back there, there is need for products that are a little bit narrower to better accommodate some of these back seats in vehicles. So All4Stages Slim has, you guessed it, 4 stages of use. You can see all of the product specs on the left-hand side of the screen. So rear facing, we go 4 to 40 pounds. And remember, I talked about this last year. We're bumping up that rear facing height capacity to 43 inches. So you see that here. Forward facing, 2 years old, 30 to 65 pounds. And we've made it a change to how we're handling some of our booster modes. So what you see here is this has a high back booster mode where we're going 40 to 100 pounds and 44 to 57 inches. And then a backless booster mode that goes 40 to 120 pounds and 44 to 60 inches. So just trying to give a little bit more information to the consumer about generally the appropriate size for the child that is in and using that booster mode. Obviously, you have way more room for growth if you're in a backless booster than a seat that actually has the back and a headrest that you have to deal with. You'll also note there in those booster modes, we have increased that minimum age to at least 5 years old. So you can see that there as well. This product has a 12-position adjustable headrest. I don't know that this is going to show up, and this is a total aside. I don't know that I can show this to you easily on camera, but I think one of the things that I love about some of our products more recently is if you lift up the soft goods backrest flap, you can look inside on the plastic shell and see which numbered headrest position you're in. So if you're ever questioning, oh, am I in the top position or is there another position up there? You can lift it up and see, oh, I'm at position 11. I've got one more position to go. So just a little tip. I kind of love that that's sort of hidden in there because it's just molded into that plastic on the backrest. We have a no rethread harness attached to that adjustable headrest. We have a number of optional accessories. I'm going to talk about those in a little bit more detail. And additionally, we have 6 recline positions, which I'm going to talk about in a lot more detail. But not one, but 2 new All4Stages. We also have a version that we're calling the Slim Plus because it adds just a little bit more. So all of those product specs you see on the left-hand side are the same. Generally, most of the usage and all of the installation is the same, but there's a few other features. So most obviously, there's a canopy, so you can see that. That is optional. It's rear facing only. We're going to talk about that in more detail. There's a bubble level up at the top of those side wings. You can see that near the canopy area. Talk about that a little bit more. There's an optional snack tray. I'll show that to you when we're live. And then you can kind of see, it's hard to see because this is a black fashion down here, but there's an additional little leg rest flap on this Plus model as well. So those are the 2 different versions. At the end, I'll show you price points and remind you of what some of the differences are too. And remember, you're getting these slides tomorrow, so you don't have to try to write down all of these little details. So I know you love numbers. So here's some specs and some dimensions for you. Most importantly, I said that this is called Slim because it's narrower. This comes in at 16.9 inches, which is inclusive of the cup holders. So less than 17 inches wide with the use of those cup holders. So we tried to keep this nice and slim for you. The lowest harness height position is about 6.5 inches. The tallest is 18.5. The booster belt guide is just a little bit above, that top harness height. The seat itself weighs just under 24 pounds. And again, a 10-year expiration from the date of manufacture. That's what all of our products are moving towards. So that's what you see with this product too. So I want to get into a little bit of detail with some of these features. So starting with the canopy. Again, this is only on the Slim Plus version. It is completely optional, although if you spent a little bit more money to get this version, I would expect that you're going to use it. It's rear facing only, so that's an important piece to know. So it is removable and it does not come attached to the product out of the box. So much like you see in this image on screen from instructions, you will connect it to the product, and then when you're done and you're moving to forward facing mode, you will remove it from the product. You can only use and adjust the headrest while the canopy is extended up to the lowest 5 positions. So not only are we saying it's only in rear facing mode, using it is going to limit the capacity, the height capacity of the seat. So I'm not terribly concerned about people not removing it in forward facing mode, because it's going to limit how tall that child could be anyway. I'll show you, I'll try. It's going to be a little bit hard to see on video. We do have installation videos and some how-tos on attaching this canopy as well. I'll try to show you where it attaches on the product when we move to the live video, but it's basically just underneath that side wing. So the side wing has a return that comes around, and you just kind of put your hand back behind there and you can squeeze to remove it. Recline adjustments. I said I'd talk a lot more about that. So the recline adjustment handle is in the front and center of the car seat. You'll note here, which this image comes from product instructions, we show that seat facing on the sideways on the vehicle seat because we think it's a lot easier to adjust that recline when the product is facing you. So if you were rear facing in the vehicle, it helps just to rotate that seat to face you, recline it, and then put it back into that rear facing position. So that's why we show it facing like that in the user guide. There are 4 rear facing positions for rear facing. There are 4 recline positions for rear facing mode. That's what you see on the top right. There are 2 positions for forward facing or booster mode. So rear facing, everything is coded blue on labels and on product details. Forward facing, everything is coded in red. So you can see that those 2, 5, and 6 are in red at the bottom. Additionally, we have a dual recline zone. So for the slim model without the canopy, you only have the level line. That is your leveling, how you're going to determine if your recline is correct. You have a level line that you will level to the ground. You've got a black line down here at the bottom. That's for 4 to 22 pounds. That gives you a bit more recline. And then you've got the white line from 22 to 40 pounds. That's going to get you the more upright for that bigger, older child. So that's what you'll see on just the slim version. The Slim Plus, which adds in that canopy, has, as you saw in the picture, a bubble level indicator as well. So it has this label, this blue rear facing label is the same on both products, but now you additionally have that bubble level as well here. And you'll see it looks a little bit confusing because it sort of shows 2 zones. It just lets you see here, rear facing is all of this black and white for the bubble. So basically 4 to 22 pounds, just showing, the most reclined option for our smallest occupants here in black from 4 to 11 pounds. I mentioned accessories. We have a few. I like to call these out in particular because I often get a lot of questions about them. So the body pillow, the infant insert as we're showing on the screen here, is optional in rear facing mode only. So you have to take it out for forward facing mode or any of the booster modes, but as long as you're rear facing, you can use it, don't use it, doesn't matter, either way is fine. It's there for comfort and to help improve fit for the child. So use it or don't. It's there for you. Take it out when you move forward. There's a head pillow. Same rules apply. This is also optional. It is also only for rear facing use. So use it or don't use it. We have no restrictions around it in rear facing mode, but once you move to forward facing or booster modes, it has to be removed from the product. The buckle has 2 different positions, an inner slot and an outer slot. It is easiest to adjust the buckle when you have the product fully reclined. So I know this is kind of a crazy looking image, but this is what it looks like when you fully recline that car seat. You can see that then you have access to those buckle slots underneath the product, and that's how you would make those adjustments. The inner position is always used for rear facing. The outer position is always used for forward facing. No weight limits associated with them. It's just if you're rear facing, you use the inner. If you're forward facing, you use the outer. There's also cup holders attached to this product. They do not ship attached, so you will attach them. They are labeled as A and B. So if you flip the cup holder upside down, there is a letter, an A or a B, and on the product itself, there is a letter, an A or a B. So you match your A's and you match your B's, and you just slide the cup holder into place, and they stay attached at all times. They are removable, so if they get really dirty, you can take them out. They are dishwasher safe, so put them in the top rack of the dishwasher. So again, has to be on at all times in vehicle use, but also can come out for cleaning. And I got an internet unstable, but Andrea, am I still good? Okay. Who knows what's going on with the internet at my house.
You went out for a little bit, but you're back now.
Okay.
So.
Did I miss anything? Okay. You'll let me know if we missed anything. Hopefully it's okay. Buckle guides. Or belt guides. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry about that. That should say belt guides. I'll fix that in your PDF version. So we have 2 belt guides on the product for installation. I'm going to go through this when we do our live install. This is for the shoulder belt portion of your vehicle seat belt. So the lap belt goes across the shoulder belt. As you're tightening, you're going to slide into this belt guide. It is really just there to hold the shoulder belt in the position where we want it to be in the belt path for crash purposes. It is required. You must put the shoulder belt into that belt guide, but it's just guiding the belt. So then you will lock your vehicle seat belt when you've finished your installation. So you'll route the belt, you'll pull it snug, you'll slide that shoulder belt into the appropriate belt guide, and then you'll lock your vehicle retractor. Again, we'll go through that live. I think that you'll be able to see pretty well. If you choose to use lower anchors with this product, there is no upper weight limit for rear facing. We go to 40 pounds. You can use it all the way up to that 40-pound weight limit in rear facing mode. In forward facing mode, remember the product starts at 30 pounds forward facing. You could use the lower anchors up to 40 pounds in that forward facing mode of use. We have updated our lower anchor connector. The team's really excited about this one. So it looks, like a standard push-on lower anchor connector system. We're calling this the SecureTight lower anchor system. The difference is really in that adjustment mechanism on the lower anchor connector. So that part where you push the gray button to release and pull the strap to pull, the mechanism inside there has been updated and allows you to pull or to release with 50% less effort. So it is really much, much easier to pull it snug. And then also, and the thing that I think is often the most difficult with lower anchors, it is much easier to loosen when you're trying to uninstall the car seat. So an update there. I'm excited when you guys start to get this out in the field and play with it some. I'm excited to hear what you think about that. It does seem to be a really big improvement. For rear facing storage, you'll see when I pull over to our video right now, it ships with the lower anchors in that rear facing belt path. We expect, based on data that we've seen through the National Digital Car Seat Check form, that a lot of consumers choose to use those lower anchors in that rear facing mode first. So we have it stored there right out of the box. There is a storage clip that you'll see. I'll show you before I uninstall that. In forward facing mode, we also have a storage location that I can show you on camera too. I think you can tell roughly where it is in this picture, but I can show it to you when we're on camera. And then much like any other Evenflo combination all-in-one car seat, we will allow the use of the lower anchors in the tether to be used in that high back or backless booster mode. Obviously not the tether in backless booster mode, but the lower anchors could be used then too. The big thing there to think about, obviously there's no weight limits when you're in booster mode. Remember, the seat belt is what's doing the restraining at that point, not the lower anchors. So the seat belt is what is holding those crash forces. you want to make sure that the fit of that seatbelt is not affected by using the lower anchors and the tether. And in some vehicles you have those offset lower anchors, which is fine for, a harnessed installation. But when you move to booster mode, you don't want that lower anchor position to be offset from the seatbelt. You want to make sure that that child can fit appropriately in the seatbelt. So that's our call out there. Otherwise, feel free to use them. Backless booster mode, I will show you how to remove the base for that backless booster mode. There's a little handle underneath the soft goods. You just raise that handle and basically it lifts right up. The one call out that I wanted to add in here as a reminder is there are these little booster feet that we want you to flip out in that backless mode. There's some information I think you might be able to see on camera that's written on them that reminds you to flip them out for that backless booster mode. And it does allow that backless booster to sit a little bit nicer and more upright on that vehicle seat. Last but not least on technical details, the user guide stores behind the seat pad. So over here circled, there's a little indicator label on the soft goods. You lift up that backrest pad and there's a pocket, and that's where you can store the user guide so that it stays attached to the product. We also in instructions show you where to store it on the backless booster too. I just didn't feel like that was the most important thing that I needed to call out right away for this product for you here today, but we would recommend once you get to backless booster mode, the idea is the instructions should always stay with the product so that at any point you can reference them. And I'll lift that up when we go over here live in just a minute and show you that too. We have two, again, different versions of this product at those two different price points. So the All4Stages Slim on the left and the All4Stages Slim Plus on the right. One of the things I did not mention is that both of these products are Green Guard Gold certified for low chemical emissions. We also both have the push-on lower anchor connectors with that secure tight adjuster. So you've got that on both products. The Slim Plus is adding in that canopy, the snack tray, the bubble level, that little leg rest. So it's adding in some additional features there on the right-hand side. We have some nice colors, lots of gray, but I love the pinkish color that I was showing earlier is called Sanibel, which just makes my heart happy because I have family that live down in Sanibel. It's a place that we go a lot in Florida. So you can see some of the colorways here on screen. And then for all of our new products, including the All4Stages, we all ship with a quick start guide. Now I have it in front of me, as well as obviously product instructions. The quick start guide has a QR on it that takes you directly to the installation videos. There are some QR codes also on the product that take you to installation videos. We have installation videos for every mode of use. So there's 6 of them total. Every mode of use there covered. And we also have how-to videos, again, talking about how to use that canopy, when to use it, how to take it on and off the product. Also, how to take on and off the soft goods and what we allow for washing. For those that might not be as familiar with the Evenflo brand, from a washing perspective, we always allow machine washing of our soft goods, just gentle cycle, mild detergent, and then we will allow you to place those soft goods in the dryer and tumble dry on low for 10 to 15 minutes. We've also started including in our care and cleaning section at the back of our instructions that you can also wipe down the product with 70% isopropyl alcohol if that's something, if you need to kind of disinfect between uses, that's an option for you too, and that is listed in product instructions now. So we're going to do a live demo, but I want to pop over here to the questions for just a minute. I think I've covered some of them, at least from what I can see. Emily, internal hip room. I have, if I didn't set it down someplace that I can't find, we can do that live. Andrea, try to remind me about that one because I have a tape measure someplace here so I can measure the hip room. This one is also going to Canada, Jennifer. Andrea, you want to talk about that for a second?
Yes, so both the Core and the Core Plus will be in Canada. It'll be released later this year, but yes, it is going to Canada.
And when Andrea says core and core plus, those are kind of our internal words.
Slim,
That
sorry,
slim and the
Slim
slim
and
plus,
Slim Plus. Yes, I
that's where
apologize.
that comes
Yes.
from. No, you're good. This is Caitlin FAA approved. You can bring this onto an aircraft. We have those instructions in the manual. We talked about the infant insert. A question about spica casts. This is like my favorite stuff to talk about. So, yes, you could use this for a child that has a spica cast if they fit appropriately in the product and they do not have a gap behind themselves when they're sitting in the product, and as long as their casted weight is within the weight limits of whichever mode of use they're using it in. Generally, for those that aren't familiar, we do have a medical waiver. So generally, spica casts, as long as you can get an appropriate fit in the product, you don't need to tell me that you're using it. It's okay. If your hospital needs more than me just saying this on a webinar, I have a letter I can send you that says, as long as you're using the car seat appropriately, you can use it with a spica cast, and I'm happy to send that to you. So you can send me an email for that. But then just generally, anytime, situations come up that are maybe a little bit outside the norm and you want to maybe consider something else might be helpful for that child, maybe a little bit of additional padding or some other kind of modification, allowing a child to use it in one mode a little bit longer potentially. You can always reach out to me for one-off situations like that, and we have a discussion amongst our team. And then if we all, come together and agree on something, we have a medical waiver program where we would send you that waiver and have the family complete that. So you can always reach out to me for those kinds of questions for kids with disabilities or adaptive needs. Buckle positions. So Justine asked if there's exceptions for the buckle positions. If you're within the weight and height, but the buckle is under them, you can reach out to us. We do a lot of kid fits. So we've done a lot of kid fits with this product with kids of different sizes, and not had issues with buckle fit thus far. So if you run into an issue, I would love to see it and hear more about it. So send us those details. So I can't, say right now one way or the other what our answer would be in that situation, but you can always reach out. And I'll note the instructions don't say anything in this case about the buckle strap being underneath the child as a situation where you would need to move it. So you'll see when you review our product instructions how we say rear facing, it's the inner slot, forward facing, it's the outer slot. Somebody asked if the parent has a locking latch plate, what do you do about that belt guide? We're going to go through that installation. If you've got a locking latch plate, then you've got a locking seatbelt, and you would still use the belt guide. It's still going to hold that belt in the position that we want the shoulder belt to be in. But if you've got a locking latch plate on a lap shoulder belt system, then you have a locked belt and you're good to go. Our videos for installation in multiple languages. Molly, we have all the videos are in English. I believe they all have French subtitles because of selling the product in Canada. I don't know that we have the videos with any other subtitles, but we do have English, French, and Spanish language instructions. Okay. Somebody asked about Merit chest clip. This is not Merit chest clip approved. Number one, we haven't tested it, but number two, it's a little bit more difficult to do that with the no rethread harness seats. Because you actually have to take off the chest clip and then you have to replace the chest clip. And especially when you're threading and routing a no rethread harness, that isn't always an adjustment we want just any consumer to make with the product, because they might not thread it back the right way. So probably won't be Merit chest clip approved. And I can say for right now, it certainly isn't because we have not done that testing. And Jamie, I'll have to check on the team. Can the buckle be J-looped, so shortened for a newborn? We do not provide that in product instructions. I will have to talk to engineering to see if they tested that. Okay. think that's what I see for a lot of the questions right now. Oh, Maria asked about washing materials is not going to ruin the warranty. No, we tell you in instructions, and this is true for all Evenflo products, that you may wash these products following our instructions. And when we say that, it means that in our PI specs, we are doing that prior to the launch of the product. So our spec actually says we go through 10 washing cycles, 10 drying cycles, and we're in between fitting those soft goods back on the product to make sure that we have, like the fabric itself isn't degrading in any way, and importantly, that it still fits on that car seat the way that it was intended to fit on the car seat after all of the washing and the drying that we've done. So I think I'm going to stop my share right now, and I'm going to pin my cell phone camera back here. Let me say spotlight there. And then I thought we would run through some installation. So I'm going to show you a little bit of details here. Andrea, if you see questions or, comments or anything pop up while I'm doing this, flag me down because I won't be able to see my screen as well now.
You got it.
So I'll start with just a little bit of usage over here. Obviously, we've got this canopy. So much like an infant car seat canopy, you can just raise or you can pull it all the way forward, or you can store it back. This is part of the canopy attachment over here, and I'll see if I can pull this a little closer for you. You can see where my finger is pointing. In here, you would squeeze. This is the canopy kind of stay attachment right here. So you squeeze and push out, and then you can pop out that canopy. It also nests around the bubble level, so that's pretty easy. I think I can kind of pull some of it down to show you. It's just got a seam, and you just kind of push the seam around, and it should sit pretty nicely around that bubble level. And then at the back, we have a little label here that reminds you canopy used in rear facing only. And then there's just a little piece of Velcro back here just to help you get that nice smooth canopy. So part one, canopy. Tether storage is up here at the top, so you can see that there. Oh, while we're back here and looking at the back of the car seat, I'll show you, I think you can see there. This is your storage hook. If you had the lower anchors routed in the forward facing belt path, you would clip onto this storage bar back here. Generally in instructions, we say if you're going to install with the seat belt in the rear facing belt path, we want you to move the lower anchors up here to the forward facing belt path just to get them out of the way, and vice versa. If we're installing with the seat belt up here in the forward facing belt path, then we have you store the lower anchors down here in the rear facing belt path. Again, just to kind of get them out of the way so that you have plenty of space to work with the belt system that you're installing with. So here's our rear facing belt guides right here. It's just this D-ring that's attached to the soft goods. So that's where you're going to attach your lower anchor in that rear facing belt path. Since they're already there, and so that I can show you one of each, I'm going to install the rear facing in with the lower anchor system. So let me,
Sarah, I don't know if you, before you go, there is a question about if I purchase the slim version, can the canopy be purchased separately later on?
So it's an interesting question because we asked this too. I mean, technically, so there's a couple things to think about. Hold on, I hope nobody from the National Safety Council is watching me step over cords here. A couple things to think about. So right here on these soft goods, the Slim Plus version that obviously comes with the canopy comes with soft goods that have a hole and an opening for you to be able to place that canopy. The Slim version of soft goods does not. So if you bought the version that does not have the canopy, in the hard goods, you're going to have that hole in there. They're the same shell, but in the soft goods, you're not going to have the ability to get in and attach this. So is it possible? And will we send it out as a replacement part at some point? The answer is probably yes. you would ultimately then need to buy soft goods that would allow for the canopy attachment. And in that case, you know, if you really wanted the canopy, you probably would have just spent the money to buy the canopy first. Is that, Andrea, you good with
Yep,
that?
that's perfect.
Okay. Recline adjustment is down here. So I'll lift up this little flap. You can see right here. So I'm going to squeeze and recline my seat. Probably don't need to go all the way recline. I'll sit on position 2 here. All right, I'm trying to watch the video and do this at the same time so I can see what you're seeing. So I'm going to detach this side. I think it's all the way loose. So attach that there. Come to my other side. That's all nice and flat. So I've got both sides connected. This is an awkward way to do this and to show you. See, Andrea's in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm down here in Florida. And it was so nice when I was with Matt yesterday and we were able to do this together because he was my cameraman and I didn't have to worry about how to attach this. But I'll go from this side then. So just like any other lower anchor, you know, adjustments, I'm gonna push on my moving seat and I'm gonna pull. It is always easier if we take this from inside that belt path. It's a little bit short, so it's a little bit harder to get inside the belt path. Generally pretty snug there. So pretty basic. I don't think there's anything big going on here with that lower anchor attachment. Our recline line, I'm on the English side. I don't think you guys can see it from that angle anyway, but our recline lines are down there. And again, the bubble level is up at the top of the side wing. So you can look at either of those. It looks like from the bubble level, I'm at the upright end of 11 to 22 pounds. So I'm going to detach that.
And there's one question while we're talking about rear facing. Does the body insert allow for unique folding positions for newborn fit, like the revolve line?
Go say that one more time. Sorry.
Does the body insert allow for unique folding for newborn fit, like the revolve line?
Got it. I don't think we tested that with this product. Maybe while I'm here. What we're talking about is like, could you make a little wedge like this to sit up higher? This is not in the lowest position. So while I'm still sitting sideways, let me loosen this a little bit and I can lower the headrest down so you can see the backrest flap. Oh, open the whole harness system so that you can see better. So your backrest flap here has these different fold lines. So if I'm using this, you know, with a smaller occupant, we can fold it down there. You can also, as the headrest goes up more, just fold the little bottom half too. So you kind of fold it to get it out of the way. So now I'm in the lowest position here. I'll move this and then I'll get my arms out of the way for you. Go ahead and buckle the harness and make it snug so you can see the lowest position. Oh, I didn't mention in my slides, but the harness covers and the buckle cover are optional at any time, so you don't have to use those at all. This headrest insert is also optional. I'm going to go ahead and take that out so you can see the lowest position a little bit better. Let me set this upright. So you can see in there a little bit better. So that's your lowest, oops, it's sitting around there, funny. That's your lowest harness position there. Reach out to me if you're working with an infant that, you know, it's a little bit above and you think folding that insert in. I don't know that we did any testing with that, but obviously, you know, we've allowed that before with Revolve. So just reach out and let me know. And we can look at pictures and, make some decisions together.
And then just a couple more questions while you're in that area. So are the body and head inserts allowed to be used separately? Can the headrest be used without the body insert?
Yes and yes.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both totally optional. There are really no rules around using either one of them. So this body piece or this headrest piece, you use them how you want to use them. The only rule is they have to come out forward facing and they have to come out for booster.
And then there's a couple more questions. Can the base hang over the vehicle seat?
So we would follow 80-20 guidance. So if I turn myself back around again, oops, let's put it back in. Well, I guess I was in position 4 there. All right, so maybe I'll show you that. Where that nets out here. Oops, too upright. That was position 4. Oops, too much. I think there's 3, I think would be good. I just got this sample, guys, the day before I went to Massachusetts last week. So I officially unboxed it right before we even started here, which is exciting and fun. This is still a little bit too upright on my vehicle seat right here in the office. But you can see for overhang purposes, I don't really have much of anything from overhang, but we would follow the 80-20 guidance. So you'd want at least 80% of this base supported by the vehicle seat, and you could have about 20% hanging over the edge.
All right, great. And I think there was one more question, or there's a few more, just can you show at some point moving the latch between the belt paths? I don't know if you want to show that. And then the next one is based on is it the angle of the camera, or do the side wings seem deeper?
The side wings are a bit deeper. So, there's some things going on in regulatory land right now with side impact testing. And as a result, I think you will start to see deeper side wings on some products. I mean, you can see it. I can see it in the picture that I have on screen. I stopped sharing my screen for you, but when I go to screen share again, you'll see it with a kid, an actual lifestyle image in the product. So you'll see how a child looks. But these, side wings are a little bit deeper and a little bit thicker in terms of what's going on with them. I guess I could turn that around and say that too. I'm going to hold off on doing the lower anchor rear facing to forward facing belt path only because we only have 15 minutes left. So I don't want to take up, it's really not any different than any other typical product moving from a rear facing belt path to a forward facing belt path. So I'd rather get through a little bit more information, and if we have time, we could come back to that. Cool. Any other questions, Andrea?
There is one that just came in that I don't see the waterfall effect here, but I called Evenflo last week on a waterfall effect issue with a seat that would have been solved with a receiving blanket to fill in the space with the seat back in the seat. The person said it's too much to change all the manuals. Any feedback you can give to Evenflo peeps would be great. So I don't know if you want to address this later.
Yeah, maybe send me an email because I'm not sure I'm understanding what we're talking about with that waterfall effect. There's a waterfall in the seat bite of a vehicle or what they're referencing there. So if whoever sent that question in, if you could send that to me in an email, I'd be happy to look into that.
They are going to email. So great. Thank you.
Love it. Okay, so now let's move to forward facing. Let me loosen the harness again. And I'll raise the headrest a bit. I'm not going to go all the way up again because I've got the canopy on right now. Let's see, I'm going to start this way first. Oops. There you go. So, forward facing, I've already taken out the head pillow. I'll take out our body pillow here. This is, our instruction storage. So here's your instruction logo. When you lift up the seat back pad, this is the flap. Here's my instruction manual. So you can just kind of slide that into the flap there. I'm not going to do that now because I love how that's just sitting open for us right now. So I'm going to keep that open so that you guys can see what I'm doing back here. I don't know how well, I'm going to try to stand this way so you can see. This is where I was talking about that it's numbered. So 1 is down here. That's our lowest headrest position. Right now we're in position number 8. So if you can see those numbers at all, just a little tip. I find it very helpful when I'm going into the higher headrest positions or when I'm doing fits with kids and I just want to know what headrest position they net out in. So I'm going to do forward facing with seatbelt. You only have 10 pounds of lower anchor usage with this product anyway. So I would probably just do seatbelt forward facing just so you don't have to uninstall and reinstall it at some point. So I'm just going to take that seatbelt, go across the belt path. My arms aren't long enough, so I'm going to come over here and buckle that in. I might turn my buck a little bit more so that you can see. That was not helpful. From here, I'm going to take the shoulder belt. So just the shoulder portion of the belt, that's that upper belt. I'm going to push with one arm and I'm going to give a good strong tug there. And then this is why I was turning my butt because I want you to see this part. I've got this shoulder belt here. I'm going to slide the shoulder belt into that red belt guide. So that's just holding my shoulder belt in position. From here, I'm going to check and see if I'm nice and snug, which I am. So at this point now, I would go ahead and lock my retractor. Again, if you were in a vehicle that had a locking latch plate, congratulations, you don't have to do another step. Your seatbelt system is already locked. And then obviously I would have taken off my tether, but attaching the tether over here is a little bit difficult on my demo buck. But you would also attach that tether for forward facing use. Nothing really different or special, except it is our red tether to help draw attention to the fact that we want you to use the tether. So not anything too crazy. I'm gonna lift this up so you can see from the inside. So your seatbelt is just coming across and it's going into that red belt guide. So it goes into the belt guide on the retractor side of the vehicle. Your seatbelt naturally wants to do that anyway, so you're just following the natural path of that seatbelt and holding the shoulder belt in position. Any questions about that, Andrea?
Yes, there's a couple questions. So for forward facing, the overhang applies the same rule, 80-20.
Correct. You want to have, and I'll show you, I actually do have a tiny bit more overhang here. Okay, good, you can see that. So here's the edge of my seat. I'm looking just kind of at the bottom of this base. You want to have 80% of the base of this car seat supported by the vehicle seat. You also, I think we say in instructions, we want this to be positioned flat on that vehicle seat. So right now I'm in contact with all of that vehicle seat. I have just a tiny bit of overhang, which is fine. It leaves us with this gap of space back here. Move my hand so that maybe you can see that. And that's okay. That's how that car seat is just naturally going to sit on the vehicle seat. So it's okay to have that bit of space down below.
And then one question regarding the belt guide. So you're calling that a shoulder belt guide, but is it functioning as a lock off?
It is not a lock off. It is a belt guide. So it is just positioning the belt where we want that belt to be on the product. So it's not locking the belt in place. I locked my retractor to hold the belt in place. Couldn't see that all the way.
And then is it acceptable to have a gap between the car seat base and the vehicle seat back?
Yep. So that's what we were just talking about right here.
Yep.
So we've got a bit of gap there. I mean, I could fit more than my hand in there, and that's okay. I'm not overhanging the front of the vehicle seat. I've got a very tight installation. Even better if I had my tether attached right now, but we'll pretend like my tether is attached. So as long as you're doing everything right, it, just the way that that car seat is going to sit on the vehicle seat, it's okay that there's a bit of a gap.
Okay. And then is the shoulder belt guide use a requirement?
Yes. Have to install it with that shoulder belt guide. And same, so I'll pull this over here too. You can see the blue one here for rear facing use. So same situation. I think you can see it, and that's another reason why I wanted to do seatbelt for the forward facing install. You can see it a little bit easier when I do that demo by myself here. It's a little bit harder to show you what's happening in the rear facing belt path, but it's the same deal. You would put the shoulder belt on the retractor side is going to go through the blue belt guide.
Okay.
Anything else?
I think that's it for forward facing. I think there was just some comments of how does the backless booster mode remove.
That's what I want to show you next. And we have just a few minutes left, so good timing. Let me think about this. I'm gonna unbuckle and take this out. I would like to show you, before I actually remove the backless booster, I wanted to, we're gonna have to shimmy around a little bit. I want to recline this all the way, like you saw in that picture. There we go. I'll flip it up this way. Can you see that okay now? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is your, the buckle right now is in the inner slot. That's your buckle anchor plate there. So you can just slide that up and out. The buckle slots are pretty, I think, decently wide and accessible there too. So it's pretty easy to move them in and out. That was part one that I wanted to show you. Put that upright. Well, I'm just taking things apart and throwing them down. This is that extra snack tray. So it just sits in that cup holder. So the plus version comes with this that has a snack area, still has the drink area. All right, this part I have to try to hold up so that you can see. There is a white handle in here. It says pull. So I'm going to pull the white handle and lift the backless booster off of the base. My lower anchors are still attached. So they were in the rear facing belt path to start with. They're still attached to the storage. Actually, I never clipped it back over here. So they're still attached to the storage. You can keep them there, attached to the storage, or you can just slide them over and attach them to the lower anchors and pull kind of snug. Remember, when we're doing that, it's primarily just holding that booster seat in place, and specifically when it's unoccupied, preventing it from being a projectile. So you can just slide those over and connect them to the lower anchors if you want. But importantly, when we're back here, we've got these, and it says flip out for backless booster. It says it here, says it in French over there. So you flip it out. If you just flip it out, it's going to be a little bit crazy like that. So you flip it out and clip it into place. So you should hear it click into place. When it's in place, it's not really going anywhere. So now, I'm running out of space to throw things in my office. It sits on the vehicle seat nicely. So those little feet give it a little base to sit on, sits nicely. I had already thrown this down, but you've got your separate shoulder belt clip too if you want to use that. Any questions about that one, Andrea?
Not about the backless. Don't think. The one thing is going back to the if we do a harness booster, there was a question about overhang there. Is that okay?
Yeah, when you're in forward facing mode, you can have some overhang. If you are in high back booster mode, I'll have to chat with engineering. Generally, we say forward facing car seat. Oh no, high back booster mode, you would be okay with overhang too. We say any car seat, any mode of use, we follow 80/20 unless we say otherwise. So I think you'd be okay if there's a little bit of overhang in that high back booster mode.
I don't see any other questions regarding the no back.
All right, then I'm going to share just one more tip before I want to make sure I can share some final reminders, and I want to be able to put up that certificate for you guys. So final tip that I'm going to share is, when you go to put the booster base back onto the seat, you can see you've got obviously seatbelt here. You want to make sure that you keep the CFA tail from getting caught underneath. So I kind of start slowly and start by routing the CFA tail into position and then positioning harness webbing. You can't see any of this now, so it's not the right camera angle, but we did do install videos with this. So you'll see in high back and backless booster mode how to make that transition. So you just want to make sure your harness webbing still ends up in the slots that are designed for the harness webbing, and your CFA still comes out where the CFA tail goes, and then you can add back in your buckle. Okay. I'm going to come back over here then and unspotlight that and share my screen one more time. So here again, I said there was a lifestyle picture. So you can see a picture of a kiddo. Feel like that kid's about 2. I can't remember what age kids we had at that shoot. But you can kind of see side wings are a little bit deeper, but doesn't look really that much different than most products. So thanks, y'all. It's the top of the hour. I appreciate you hanging with us and joining in this session. It's been really fun. You will get a Zoom email tomorrow. It will have both the certificate from today, it will have a PDF copy of the slides. And by the email has, I cannot add attachments to the email that Zoom sends out. So you will find that information in download links that will take you to a WeTransfer website. WeTransfer, for those that aren't familiar with using it, you might, if you've never used it before, have to accept some terms and conditions, but generally the page is going to look like a giant advertisement. In this case, it will look like a giant Evenflo advertisement because I'm using our Evenflo brand WeTransfer account. So then you will see the name of what you are downloading. You'll just press the download button and then it will end up in your download folder. So you'll have, you can download one or the other. I'm not putting them together. They're 2 separate links. So you can download whatever you need, but for CEU purposes, you need that certificate. It does have the CEU pre-approval number for this session. And then this is my contact information for those that don't have it. We do have a tech discount available. So if you are interested in any of the products that we have, all of our products can be used with that tech discount. So you just have to send me an email with a copy of your certification card and I can get you those details. Andrea, anything else you'd like to share today?
No, I'm just very excited for everyone to see the seat and be able to use it.
Perfect. So